Hi, how are ya? So today we're going to talk about cortisol and the adrenal function. Cortisol suppresses inflammation. It's the job of cortisol to make the pain go away. But if cortisol is not at its optimal level, then the body will be in different states of inflammation. That inflammation may be because of emotional or physical stress, infection, food sensitivities, environmental allergies, chemical sensitivities, or any other inflammatory reason. In adrenal fatigue, the adrenal glands are weak. Our adrenal glands help our bodies deal with stress. When the adrenal glands are in a state of stress, the body's no longer able to handle stress. So when this happens, cortisol levels go up. When the cortisol levels start to decrease, the body can't fight inflammation. So I want to talk today about how it works in fibromyalgia. Here we go. The adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys and produce cortisol. Cortisol is what regulates our blood sugar, blood pressure, and many other things that I'll get into. It protects our cells and keeps our body system in balance. Once cortisol levels start to lower, the things that don't normally cause inflammation will start to cause inflammation. For example, reaching into the dryer to get the laundry out, or cleaning up a spill on your kitchen floor. Normally, in those with fibromyalgia, that little bit of strain that you just did would be controlled by cortisol. Without proper cortisol levels, though, the tissues break down and causes pain and fatigue in fibromyalgia. Conventional medicine may not find the cause of our fatigue, so we have to look at other factors. Adrenal fatigue might be triggering our fibromyalgia. Weak adrenal glands have similar symptoms of fibromyalgia. So if you have fibromyalgia, it makes sense to look at the adrenals. Treating the adrenals with natural substances and lifestyle changes might help. Cortisol levels would go back up, potentially, and start to help us feel better. So what is adrenal fatigue? Well, the difference between low thyroid function and adrenal fatigue is that in adrenal fatigue, the body temperature is low. And I've talked about this, how low it is or can be in fibromyalgia. If you have hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's and fibromyalgia and you're still fatigued after thyroid medication, the adrenals may be the trigger for both conditions. Restoring adrenal health can lead to improved thyroid function and a reduction in medications, according to Dr. Lamb. I've linked his website below. Emotional stress and toxic relationships are the leading stressors of adrenal fatigue, which results in a physical dysfunction with psychological components. Both of these are biochemically mediated through hormones. We need not only body chemistry rebuilding, but emotional healing as well. And that's why I find this topic so important, because family and employers are not usually aware of how complex this is. So maybe it's our job to educate them. There are 4 stages of adrenal fatigue, according to Dr. Lamb. Many people who work full-time jobs are active to some degree, and they're usually a stage 1 or 2. In stages 3 or 4, they're in the advanced stages where they will feel physically drained of energy. They may still be able to work though. Only in the late stages of 3 or 4 will they be bedridden. We've talked about lower cortisol levels in fibromyalgia on this channel previously. A dysfunction in the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis, is shown in studies with fibromyalgia patients. The HPA axis dysfunction is an alteration in your stress response over time that causes a domino effect, and then that results in our body becoming desensitized to stress hormones. It's most pronounced upon wakening and low all day. Normally, cortisol levels will increase in response to pain, as I previously said, and also to inflammation or psychological and emotional stress factors. But in fibromyalgia, it's likely to fall, which leads to inadequate anti-inflammatory and analgesic adrenal hormones. Low adrenal function due to low cortisol levels could be a big problem. Okay, it's time to nurture ourselves. For some, steroids can help, but proper and gentle nutrients can nurture our bodies, which allows the body to heal itself. Healthy eating. But taking too many herbs and glandulars can backfire and make the condition worse over time. Adrenal fatigue can take decades to surface, and illness, accident, divorce, overwork, or another stressor can cause the adrenals to malfunction. But fasting and detoxification can help potentially, if done appropriately with guidance from a trained physician. Aggressive detoxification can worsen adrenal fatigue and prohibit the body's natural means of using the adrenals to excrete and clear toxins from the body. High achievers, athletes, perfectionists, and those in toxic family relationships are prone to developing adrenal fatigue. Also, completely removing carbohydrates may not be a good idea. Carbs are necessary for maintaining proper blood sugar levels. My A1C came down when I completely went off carbs, so maybe it's dependent on the person. But at the same time, I hit a plateau and couldn't come down from it in weight loss on the no carb diet. So as I gently added carbs back, I went a little bit overboard in the beginning and put weight right back on. Now I'm maintaining a healthy balance of carbs, and I think that's necessary. And I know that works because I've lost weight. And of course, an overabundance of refined carbs affects our metabolism and can worsen adrenal fatigue as well. Sleep is good for the body, but if you're sleeping too much, your body may be depleted of nutrients. These are the symptoms of adrenal fatigue. A lot of these symptoms are also fibro related. So is it just fibro, or is it also this adrenal fatigue? Those symptoms can be found in many illnesses. So is it just fibromyalgia, or is it also adrenal fatigue? You could talk to an endocrinologist to discover if you may have adrenal insufficiency or depression, obstructive sleep apnea, or another health problem. Endocrinologists don't appear to believe that adrenal fatigue is a real illness. They believe there is something else causing your symptoms. I'm not a medical doctor. I explore all of the possibilities and see what makes sense to me. For many years, some illnesses had no diagnosis, and still, fibromyalgia doesn't have clinical tests to prove that we have it. But at least now it is an accepted diagnosis. Will that happen in the future with adrenal fatigue? Or are we to accept that it's something else causing all of this? I don't have the answer. What do you think? I don't think that taking a bunch of supplements is going to cure you. We don't really know what's in a supplement that's not FDA approved. So that can make it a little scary. Okay, so far, we've learned that when our adrenal fatigues are stressed out, because we're stressed out, it can increase the risk of fibromyalgia. It also can increase the risk of getting chronic fatigue syndrome. And this can lead to hypocortisolism. But a few researchers have found that cortisol levels are increased in fibro, or they're normal. What I gather is that in order to truly understand cortisol levels in fibromyalgia, you have to do many tests of cortisol levels throughout the day. And there are some researchers who did just that. 4 times a day, at least, is considered the normal amount to test cortisol levels in a day in fibromyalgia. You may have trouble getting up early and want to sleep until 10 a.m. You'll usually feel better and fully awake after your noon meal. You'll hit a low between 2 and 4 p.m. and then feel best after 6 p.m., maybe even 7, 8 p.m. at night. And that describes me to a T. You may have fatigue, dizziness, brain fog, lethargy, decreased ability to handle stress, low body temperature, muscle weakness, hair loss, and so on. The primary adrenal hormones are cortisol, DHEA, testosterone, and epinephrine, norepinephrine. DHEA is usually low in people with fibromyalgia. Testosterone levels are decreased in postmenopausal and premenopausal women. I had mine checked, and that's true. A 30% reduction in epinephrine was found in premenopausal women. A salivary adrenal test can be done, and it should be sampled 4 times a day, as I said. So why is this often overlooked by medical professionals? When adrenal fatigue is a common component in fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, because this decrease in optimal adrenal function has far-reaching implications for our organs and systems. Poor adrenal fatigue creates prolonged or limited recovery and frustrated physicians and patients because we're not recovering. So let me ask you these questions. Have you ever driven yourself to a place of exhaustion? Have you had long periods of stress or one severe stressful event? Are you overworked with little time to play or relax for extended periods of time? Have you had severe respiratory infections like the flu, bronchitis, pneumonia, tuberculosis, or maybe COVID? Do you have a history of a nervous breakdown? Do you have a craving for sweet or salty snacks? Do you make it through the day without coffee? I surely could not. I drank a lot of coffee when I was working. And I've gradually gotten to the place I'm not drinking coffee, but I have a crash between 2 and 4 p.m. where I'm just wiped. Do you have a previous history of heavy or binge drinking or drug intake? Do you have a history of intense participation in competitive sports? Can you say, after blank, I was never the same? So when adrenal fatigue is setting in, you'll notice a chronic cough, frequent or recurring bronchitis, asthma, colds, and other respiratory involvements, a tendency toward chronic allergies like skin conditions, rash, dermatitis, etc. You may have a history of a metabolic disease or autoimmune condition. You may have a chronic illness like fibromyalgia. Anorexia could be a problem. Or you might have a lowered resistance to infectious illness. Symptoms might increase when you're under stress. You might start having problems with missing work, perhaps marital discord, a decreased libido. You may get skipped over for a promotion or another opportunity at work. Perhaps you have a reduced income that was forced because you needed to lower your stress levels. Maybe you find it hard to parent your children properly. Maybe you have poor dietary habits, or you're unhappy in your relationships. Maybe you stopped exercising, or now you don't enjoy activities. You may have syncope or lightheadedness when rising rapidly from a sitting or lying position. So what do you do? Well, getting a good night's sleep is essential, and doing activities that bring you joy. Find a way to alleviate the stressful situations that you're dealing with. Eat healthy, regular meals. We need protein. And if you aren't getting enough, try a protein shake, one that doesn't have added sweeteners. And this one's important. Socialize. We need people. That's how we were born, to be social creatures. It's important to communicate with other people in whatever fashion that may be. feel free to comment below because I like corresponding with you. Or send me an email. I'll put that in the description. I feel like I'm getting a portion of my social interaction by creating this channel. I call you my friends because you're all important to me. And I feel like we're like-minded. I have my husband when he comes home in the evening to communicate with, but a variety of communication is awesome. I also spend time with family, and I mean, that's crucial. I'm picking up my granddaughter from school today and taking her to work. And just those few moments of spending a little time with her brings me immense joy. You may find that you'll feel better if you sleep till about 9 a.m. For me, if I sleep too long, then I wake up with a terrible backache and I'm extremely stiff. So I don't sleep in very late. Go to bed at 9:30, maybe work towards going to sleep by 10, and do some mild exercise. Minimize your stress. I've said this before. Watch a funny movie or read a funny book. Watch the kitten YouTube videos. Those will make you chuckle. Laughter is good for overall healing. Take a break during the day just to rest. I love my recliner back here. I rest periodically, and I try to take breaks even while I'm filming or writing my scripts for my videos. I'm not always successful at doing that, I'll tell you that, because I get intense when it comes to research. But I do my best. Try breathing exercises. Think of something pleasant before you even get out of bed, just to bring your mood up immediately when your feet touch the floor. Just expect something good every day. Reduce your negative thoughts. When they pop in your head, just say no. This is going to be a great day. Discover what is robbing you of your energy and stop it if you can. Or do some of those things I just mentioned, breathing, relaxing, think happy thoughts. If you have syncope or lightheadedness, put a little salt in your water and drink that. I take magnesium at bedtime to help with sleep and my IBS-C. It's usually recommended to take at least 400 milligrams at bedtime. I can take as much as 1,200. There are other treatments. I didn't want to get into treatments in this video. I just wanted to bring awareness that adrenal fatigue could be real. It might be what we're experiencing. I want you to do your own research. Look into this. Is this a possibility? And I'd love to hear from you. Really, I'd love to hear from you. There are functional medicine doctors who most likely understand adrenal fatigue. If you feel this is something you want to pursue, a functional medical doctor might be more inclined to listen to you. So I hope you're having a great day. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you.